2 for both of these two teams. I think it's basically now or never for Athletico. I don't really see it happening on Escort, given how hard they were.
They did struggle, yeah. They did struggle on Numbani on the payload part. So, yeah, here, Hanamura, obviously, Assault is the type of map where
upsets happen.
Exactly. It is very susceptible to that sort of
If you
upset.
can get a good stagger going, if you can get a good stall going on second point, probably won't happen here on first, but on second, definitely. My one concern about Hanamura here is that when we see Sydney Drop Bears on the defensive side, that's again going to give room to CKM and Huss to play the Doomfist Sombra if that is what Sydney Drop Bears want to go for, and they have already shown that they're very, very solid on that and very scary on those particular heroes. I think from AU Contenders, really I feel as though Sydney Drop Bears is the only team that has actually pulled off that defensive setup to any reasonable success.
Well, it's Drop Bears going out on attack, Athletico starting off on defense.
Micro's persisting with the mate.
Interesting to see the Drop Bears have picked attack first here as well, Jordan. So, yeah.
They've been doing that. I think every time they've played on Hanamura, they've chosen to attack first. And if you remember how fast they capped out against Blank last week, there's no surprises as to why.
Well, they're going to roll straight into the room on the right. Is this the place they want to be fighting? We'll see who goes down first. Everyone on the Drop Bears still nice and healthy. They're going to head upstairs over the top, drop back down the other side. Last shot to take a bit of a pot shot at him as they go through the bridge.
Yeah, unfortunately for Micro, he's not able to get a wall up in time. Sydney Drop Bears just so quick, so clean, and so coordinated through the gate.
Here we go again. Finally going to push back onto the point. Reinhardt up against Reinhardt, along with the Brigida, drops the shield. And the wall goes straight up and is going to push a Kraken out of the fight. But it doesn't matter. Or does it? Gob going hard, finds two supports. Huss gets the D-Mech on. And Gob in a pretty good position here.
Yeah, Punk just going to have to reset now. Huss will get the kill onto Zol, so that's a pretty nice stagger. If Sydney Drop Bears can clean themselves up pretty quickly here, they may actually be able to get back before the Diva does return. Maybe not going to be the case though, as a Kraken does get staggered quite late in the fight there. So Sydney Drop Bears, it looks like they'll probably have to face the 6v6, but they'll try and be as quick as possible here, try and catch Athletico off guard. Punk already starting to put the pressure on. Quite a lot of ultimates available right now for Athletico. Micro with the Blizzard, 84%. That's a nice wall, but baited out by Punk, who is able to escape quite easily. That's exactly what you want to be doing.
Second time's the charm. Graviton Surge will catch Gob out. Sound barrier from Athletico tries to keep him alive. Chrono sitting here with the shield ready to go as well. With the hammer.
That's a good block.
That is, that's not a bad block at all, and they've found both the supports here for the Drop Bears. So Athletico doing what they need to do. But Chrono did not waste his Earth Shatter.
Yeah, but Ben, what happened there was that Athletico put both of their support ultimates in and an Earth Shatter for really just the one ultimate or two ultimates there from Sydney Drop Bears. I think Sydney Drop Bears will come out of that one ahead. They've got both Transcendence and Sound Barrier to push them through this fight, and no matter what Athletico throws at them here, unless they get a big self-destruct grab combo, Sydney Drop Bears should be able to push on through. Micro,
third time's the charm here, Jordan. We'll see how he goes. The wall's not half bad either. Sound Barrier comes through, self-destruct as well from Athletico, right on top of that Graviton Surge. Finds two big picks, Gob coming through as well. That's a good use of the ultimates coming up from Athletico, but still a minute 10, Jordan, and the Drop Bears have quite a bit to work with.
That's exactly how it was needing to go for Athletico, because they needed time to build up the other ultimates. The self-destruct grab combo works out to perfection. Micro's Blizzard, again, not connecting. I think it might have actually been eaten by Punk now in hindsight, because I didn't see it there at all. And I see that he's on 13%, so not sure what happened there. Not going to go for the cheeky charge, but won't connect anything. Maywall will buy seconds, but nothing more.
A very early wall just to see what they can do. Gob, very low, about to get picked up as well. A Kraken finds that kill in the end. Huss with the Graviton Surge available. Zol almost goes down. The sleep comes out, but the Graviton Surge is successful. You'll think they'll clean them up. They're not even on the point. So it's now up for Athletico to try and get back on. In this scenario, it's going to be tough. The wall comes through, tries to separate the shield from the rest of the team. Chrono kind of stuck in there as well with the May, charges through, about to go down. That's a good pick. A Kraken does use the trans, keeps the team alive, but Athletico are starting to come through, Jordan. They may be able to stop this.
This has actually gone very badly indeed for Sydney Drop Bears. The wall goes up, blocks away the self-destruct, and that's really bad for Sydney Drop Bears. They're not even going to be able to cap out first here, Ben.
Wow, surely doesn't play out like this. Surely the Drop Bears are going to be able to capture the point, but it certainly does not look to be the case. One by one, they stagger themselves in. But Athletico are here on the point, and Jordan, we said this was the map for upsets.
Yep. Wow. Now's the chance. That is a very real chance for Athletico. This might be the first map lost by Sydney Drop Bears there. In that final fight, a Kraken just a little bit too late with the Transcendence. Whether he threw it out too late or it didn't come up in time, it didn't quite catch, but that meant Chrono Dodo went down on that Reinhardt. And once your main tank goes down, the follow-up is so much easier for Athletico. Not to mention the fact that they just had more players there when they needed them. Sydney Drop Bears, even though they've got that spawn advantage, were not able to knock them over. And really comes down to those microseconds. As soon as the Transcendence fades, you see the grab come out from Athletico. And that really cleaned things up, because then there was absolutely nothing to defend against that. And self-destruct, obviously, from Punk to try and keep things alive. But Maywall, Reinhardt barrier, no problems at all there for Athletico. What is it, 53.7% Sydney Drop Bears will have to pose a very solid defense.
It's not much at all.
To win against this. I'm not ready to call it done just yet, though. Like, against any other team, you'd say Athletico have won this map hands down. But against Sydney Drop Bears, there's always that thought in the back of your mind.
Who's the pressure on here, Jordan?
Maybe
is it on Athletico or is it on the Drop Bears? Is it who feels the pressure the most in this scenario?
I think it's on Drop Bears. Right now, as Athletico, you've got nothing to lose. Everyone expects you to get 4-0'd. But Sydney Drop Bears, everyone expects you to win the season 20-0. And right now, that is teetering on the precipice.
That's the story you've been writing, Jordan.
Exactly.
It's, you've set it up. But is our hero, the Drop Bears, are they about to get defeated, at least in one map?
Is Sydney Drop Bears the hero or the villain in this case?
Well, that's the good question. Who's Vegeta and who's Goku? I'm really not sure, to be perfectly honest. We're going to play this one out, though. 3 minutes 52, plenty of time.
All right, some scouting.
Yeah, we'll see what's out there. What do they got? What do we need to make this happen?
Interesting swap onto the Pharah. There is a Widowmaker for Huss right now, so not going to be too easy for Micro to get value. Sydney Drop Bears adapting straight away. They'll back off onto the point itself to provide themselves a little bit more cover. And Huss trying to deal with Micro as best as he can.
Yeah, interesting to see Athletico playing this one out very differently, trying to stagger themselves across with Evie going down. Definitely makes life tough. Money jumps through. You can see there's someone on the point as well, but it's not going to matter. The Drop Bears are finding the picks that they need. Now Athletico are going to want to slow themselves down.
Yeah, good start here for Huss.
Look at the stagger as well.
This is the reason that you pick the Widowmaker. If you are not getting picks on the Widowmaker before the fight starts, there's no point picking it. But so far, Huss has been able to find those openings. A great start onto Evie, followed up onto Money, and then gets Micro as well. Definitely a good fight for him, but there's still quite a few more where that came from, and Athletico, I'm sure, won't make the same mistake twice. Evie won't be flying through the air with no cover at all. Now they've swapped over to a little bit more of a dive-oriented setup, Athletico. No Pharah this time. Tracer and Sombra to try and put more pressure on the Widowmaker.
Again, they're very split up here, trying to find their way onto the point, maybe capture that Widow out, find an early pick. The Drop Bears, you can see, do have the advantage when it comes to ultimates for now. We're almost halfway through this first point, 2 minutes 10 on the clock of the 4 minutes we did start with. Athletico, now they're all here. It's time to come together and make their way onto the point. Still, no one's been picked, and it's going to be Punk who's going to try and chase down a couple of players. And Micro, the first one picked up again by Huss, who's doing a ton of work. The Drop Bears looking very strong here on defense. Athletico really a little bit uncoordinated.
Yeah, not the end of the world just yet for Athletico, but starting to feel like Sydney Drop Bears can actually do this, as Riptire's coming up shortly. We almost have another Infrasight out for Huss. The beat did get dropped there by a Kraken, so won't have that available for this next fight. Transcendence for Athletico. I think right now for Athletico, what they should be doing though is taking another dry fight, trying to waste some of these ultimates and build up a few of their own.
It's going to be tough against Chrono as well. They're going to use Money straight away. The trans comes through, but it's not enough. Evie immediately deleted. Micro as well. They're doing what they can, but it will not be enough. 1:10 on the clock, and the Drop Bears still very much in the driver's seat here, Jordan.
Not a single tick being picked up just yet. Does cost the Supercharger and the Riptire in that fight for Sydney Drop Bears, but I think they'll be happy with that. Really had to invest too much, and again, more change-ups coming out for Athletico as they swap their roster once more. They have really ruined their ult economy just a little bit here. USMC is going to have the EMP before the final fight. Zol will have a self-destruct, but there's not much past that for Athletico, and really what they needed was just one fight win. One fight with 6 ultimates. That might have been enough.
Moira
going to be the option this time.
Going to be picked up there by Money, but it won't even matter. Huss immediately removes him from the fight. Gob's down as well. 30 seconds on the clock. One fight remains here, Jordan, for Athletico.
Straight up need to reset right now as Athletico. Wait for Gob to come up. USMC, I think it's all on USMC right now. If he doesn't get a great EMP off, this is Sydney Drop Bears map to hold, map to win. And how the tables have turned. We were talking about potential for Sydney Drop Bears to lose their first map here and now, but straight away the defense has answered.
Well, there we go. Gob into the thick of things. Self-destruct comes through. EMP available. Throws it out. Is this going to be the fight that wins it? For Athletico, it certainly needs to. They've already lost Zol, so they're one down. USMC found out as well. Potentially now a matter of time.
Oh, that
particularly when the beat gets dropped. A Kraken coming through with the sound barrier, and that will be the death knell here for Atletico. Riptire clean things up as well. Who could have thought that this particular map, Hanamura would have ended up in such a way?
Yeah.
It was a surprise to see the Drop Bears unsuccessful on attack. But not even one tick there for Atletico when the signs were reversed, and a very strong hold coming out from our favourites.
Yeah, and that is why you don't count your chickens before they hatch. 53.7%, it's not much to defend, but Atletico didn't even achieve one tick there on the first point. So you say, yeah, it was a surprise to see Sydney Drop Bears failing so much on the attack, not being able to push through that first point. But not so much of a surprise to see them being able to hold first, to be honest.
No.
Their defense looks super solid across all maps. Everything that we've seen so far this season has shown that Sydney Drop Bears are a very, very strong defensive side. And once again, that's going to show in that matchup there on Hanamura. So now 3-0 for Sydney Drop Bears. They've won the series.
They have.
Unfortunately for Atletico, it means that they cannot get the upset today. But even still, getting a map would be, I think in my mind, an upset here if Atletico were able to do that. And they were close. They were very close today here on Hanamura, to be fair. But close enough is not good enough against Sydney Drop Bears. You give them an inch and they're going to take a mile, and that's exactly what occurred there. Atletico gave them the chance to win. Yeah. They weren't able to get a good solid fight to start things off. They started swapping their heroes around. They didn't quite have enough ultimates. They didn't really put themselves in an almost assured winning position. And unfortunately, against Sydney Drop Bears, the fundamentals are just so much better for the Drop Bears than they are for Atletico that you're going to be able to see big plays again, like out from Huss on that Widowmaker, being out from CKM, coming out on the Junkrat, being able to get so much value out of the ultimates that they are using. But look, again, another fantastic beat, even though the fight essentially was won at that point already. He almost puts the nail in the coffin there for Atletico.
100%.
And in the end, now we're at 3-0, and at this point, who's surprised?
I don't think anyone, really. Though, to be fair, that map was surprising. The result wasn't. How it played out probably was, however. I guess the other thing there is how many teams could say, hey, we did and can hold the Drop Bears to not being able to capture the first point on assault. Not many teams can do that.
But really, when you look at this, you don't think about it. If you see that result, let's say this is a 4-0. Let's say we're looking at this. We're talking about in playoffs. We're saying, oh, Atletico, they got 4-0'd by Sydney Drop Bears. We're not going to really remember. We're not really going to talk about them being able to hold Hanamura first against the Sydney Drop Bears. We're going to be talking about if they get a map off Sydney Drop Bears, because that's really what matters. That's what's quantifiable, and that is what makes a difference on the standings. And right now, Atletico, even for all the work that they do there on Hanamura, they have nothing to show for it. It's still a map win.
Have a little bit of
pride
in their heart that they can hold on to, but that's about it. Talk about it on Twitter as well. That's what I would be like. Oh, we were so close yet so far away.
So close, not good enough.
One map remains, Jordan. What do you think it's going to be? What would you pick now? I know we saw Atletico struggle here against what was a very strong defensive side in Umbani. The payload, probably not their strong point, at least up against this Sydney Drop Bears lineup. But what do you pick?
I mean, the tendency so far in AU Contenders has been to go toward Route 66, so I think that is probably what we are going to see. Neither of these two teams have actually played Dorado so far.
Well, there's no Junkertown, Jordan, this season. That's very disappointing.
Junkertown was in Route 66 position. If you remember, it was Dorado and Junkertown in Season 1 as the two choices for Escort. But this season it's Route 66, and that has tended to be a favorite among the teams. It was one of the original maps. I mean, like back in closed beta and stuff, this was a map that tended to crop up quite a lot. So I think it's a map that's quite comfortable for most players. Everyone's been playing it for, you know, however long Overwatch has been out now. It's been quite a while. 3 years, something like that. 2, 3 years.
Just keep guessing.
I don't know, 4? Is it 4? Do you know?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
How many?
Do you not remember? Did you not go to the event, the big celebration, the anniversary?
I was there, yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't remember how many years ago that was. I think it was 3. 4. 3. I think it was 3.
It's not the 4th anniversary.
3.5.
release.
3.5.
That's for sure, Jordan. Definitely not. How do you even have this job? That's the real question.
Look, I do so many esports things that it all sort of blends into one big, long 3-year period that I've just been casting.
All right.
So it's hard to remember what happened when.
That's for sure. It is definitely difficult. What has not been difficult today is the Sydney Drop Bears. Certainly, life has not been tough for them. Seem to be getting the results, looking to make this 12-0 in the season. And Huss going to be starting off causing all sorts of ruckus in the fight. Right in the back line. Money's down straight away. Micro does bring back Chrono Dota.
Oh, look at Huss just charging this up, 73%. Eventually gets out of there as Micro starts putting some pressure on him, but that's more than enough to win the fight for Sydney Drop Bears. Huss, he clips out Money and then half clips out Evie with one clip. That's fantastic work from Huss, up to 80% of the EMP, putting so much pressure on that back line, and no one from Athletico really turning around to react to it, at least not in time. He'll continue to harry them as they try to contest once again.
Feeling much better.
Payload moving forward ever quicker, really. Atletico struggling to stop this Drop Bears onslaught. One last shot at Objective A to make something of it. The EMP comes through, and that may just be enough. That's the advantage that, to be fair, the Drop Bears probably did not need to push this one through. Zol is there, USMC about to go down as well. The payload will push through, and they'll capture Objective A. John, we were at the 2-year anniversary event. Do you not remember? Brigida had just come out. It was very exciting.
Actually, was I at that event?
I think so.
I don't think I was.
Oh, well, that's embarrassing.
I'm pretty sure I didn't get invited. Esports casters don't count, apparently.
You were totally there. Maybe not.
No,
anyway,
I don't think I was.
Anyway, this game is progressing actually very quickly. Look at this. As soon as the Drop Bears get a chance to attack with the payload, it's already making its way towards the second objective.
I thought you were talking about the launch celebration when you said were you at that event.
What? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
All right. I like what Sydney Drop Bears were doing there, you know, just using Huss's EMP early on. The rate at which he's charging this EMP up is kind of conducive to him just sort of throwing it out whenever, because he's been able to build it so quickly.
Well, that's it, right?
It's coming up essentially every fight.
It's like having a pulse bomb. Just keep using it.
Another one got eaten.
Oh.
That's, I think, 4 today from Punk.
It's definitely been tough, that's for sure.
You don't even get excited about it anymore,
No.
because it's like, if he misses it, that's more of a surprise than if he eats it.
I'll get excited when we see a successful Blizzard. Chrono Dota has gone down, so this is the fight that Atletico needs to win now.
EMP's out.
Yep, already available. Gob's taken, that's a 1-for-1. Micro down, the Drop Bears gaining the advantage again. Atletico, little by little, just losing their grip on this payload. But now it's going to get very, very close to Objective B in the second phase.
And the balls from Bertlog to hold onto that sound barrier as well. You're in that position as a support player thinking, oh, I got to throw my sound barrier out here, just make sure we don't lose this fight. But he knows, he has faith in the team that they're going to keep themselves safe and alive, and doesn't even invest the sound barrier there. So fantastic stuff from Sydney Drop Bears once again. Off the back of an EMP from Huss, they win a fight.
Rally available. Pop it out straight away.
Punks. Oh, he's feeding everything. He's feeding on everything, I should say.
Hungry, hungry divas, capturing all of the things.
He doesn't need any McDonald's after this because he's already full.
Love it. Promo Dota still not having to use this Primal Rage. Self-destruct comes through. Does actually go down without popping it. The Drop Bears going to get stopped for just a moment. Still 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes 40 really on the clock.
Well, now I thought I'd go get a bit of revenge on Punk after all the pain that he's caused them so far in this matchup. Oh, no.
So just let Punk go home. Oh, dear. And the pause comes out.
The rage pause. It's the rage pause.
I can't get my mech back. There's something. Why am I so slow? I can't move.
Lagging.
It's like I'm getting frozen.
Yeah. Gee. I just don't know what to say about Punk. Like, he's literally ate everything today. it's so dominant from him that it must be so oppressive to be Athletico. You think, yeah, guys, I got grab. Don't got grab anymore. Don't got grab anymore. Don't got Blizzard anymore. Don't got anything.
The thing is, right, that the defense matrix actually really does not last very long anymore. No. So just even knowing and the management of that ability is actually very impressive.
Yeah, huge. I would say 90% of players watching this right now, if you were to go into any random ranked game and play D.Va, you probably wouldn't eat a single thing. You wouldn't eat a single grab. You wouldn't eat a single Blizzard. It's not as easy as Punk's making it look. If I eat one in a game, I'm thinking, wow, I've done pretty well for myself. But he's eaten now 4 Blizzards and a grab that I've noticed. He might have eaten more because sometimes we miss things in the heat of the battle. So
surely not. We don't miss anything. We never miss anything ever.
But hitting 5 separate ultimates in one game, you know, that's more than one a map now.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's insane.
Let's get back into it.
I would give him player of the game if I could, but you can't really give player of the game for that kind of thing.
For holding right click.
No, I mean just like because it's across so many maps.
No,
it's not one single play. Oh, well, that was a bit short-lived.
It was. Oh, got a disconnect on the side of Athletico. Maybe pausing to disconnect and reconnect.
Was it Zol that disconnected?
It was like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I think it was Zol, which would have been D.Va, which is kind of okay. Not the end of the world because, well, D.Va had just used self-destruct in the last fight, so you're not losing too much ult charge off that. Again, obviously not ideal. Even if it's 20%, it's still some lost ult charge. But better than, I suppose, someone with an ultimate disconnecting. And also D.Va can kind of get back to the point pretty quickly as well. So
yeah, it was Zol.
It was Zol. That's good. That's good. I mean, it's not good.
That's great.
That's great. No, it's better than, you know, I'd say if it was like, for example, Zenyatta or something. At least he's able to get back to the point pretty quickly. But the fact that Sydney Drop Bears are kind of already pushing in, maybe this gives them the chance, 5v6, to just really capitalize on. Unfortunately, this is the nature of Australian internet.
It is. How's your Monday going anyway, Jordan?
It's going well.
Back to the working week.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Had a great weekend.
Look, to be fair, we can't complain if it's if we're casting Overwatch. I don't think you complain about the working week if it's an Overwatch Monday.
The thing is, like, the casting Overwatch only takes 2 days. So
what do you do with the rest of your week? He doesn't. He sits in the office and he actually doesn't do much.
At the moment, I'm not doing a whole lot, but normally I cast a lot of other games, Ben. Right. I don't know if you know that.
Well, I don't watch. I only watch Overwatch. It's my only game. It's my only love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Not loving the DCs, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Bit of a slow day for some of these players. But it is one of the catches of being here. Australia's a beautiful country, Jordan. Internet, a little bit slow.
Oh, well, Sydney Drop Bears showing absolutely no mercy.
Straight away. However, we will see the Blizzard come out from Micro. Unfortunately, it did not have the impact that we had hoped that maybe it would when we finally saw it.
I think that's the second Blizzard that he's actually managed to get off. Neither of them were hugely impactful so far. I do like to see the variety, at least, you know, that Micro's playing something a bit different, trying to throw a spanner in the works here for Sydney Drop Bears. I mean, unfortunately, I'm at this point not necessarily sold on the Mei. I don't think it's had as much of an impact as it has needed to justify the pick.
I feel like, though, against literally any other team, it would have a huge impact.
I don't think you're wrong at all. But unfortunately, this is not any other team. This is Sydney Drop Bears. You need to be hitting another level to beat them. And right now, Atletico's not.
They're not hitting the level they need to, but it's very, very, very tough. And look at that, charges Chrono Dota all the way down to the end. However, that's not going to have that big of an impact either. Chrono straight back into the middle of things. It's a 1-for-1. Trance now coming through from a Kraken as the payload continues getting ever closer to Objective C. Gob
almost available.
Yeah, Gob has been nanoed up, but he's getting pushed back time and time again. The payload getting closer over and over.
Bertlove jumped over that.
The hurdle comes through, and Punk, unfortunately, demeched with 3% left before the self-destruct.
Well, the barrier goes down for Gob. Does look like Sydney Drop Bears is still committing to this fight now that the beat has been thrown in. Bertlove pinked up, but he's okay. Now there's a sound barrier out from Evie as well. Sydney Drop Bears, surely they have to back off here. CKM's going to be caught and probably staggered.
Boom.
In the end, not really staggered too much as Gob just wants to finish it off.
Yeah, well, look, I think most Reinhardts are probably unimpressed with their opposing Brigidas, so...
Blizzard's available right now for Micro, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. Ensure that he can get this one off.
payload. Now in control of Athletico, 90 seconds on the clock. Up to 60%. Soon we'll see an EMP, probably by the end of the next fight, Jordan.
That's really when Sydney Drop Bears want it. They've got one more fight here before the final. This is the penultimate fight for them. Obviously, they'd love to get it done here, but as long as you can finish the map, you'll be feeling pretty happy. And EMP might even come up in this one.
Here we go, throws it out. Not Eden, but not capturing all that much either. Gob will go down to Bertlog. You can see the Drop Bears still with 2 ultimates available. Huss has been taken down, so that's not bad. They'd love to see that play out. That's fine. Only up to 80% is the EMP, however.
Huss will get back pretty quickly on that Sombra, and once he does get back, EMP will be charged up pretty quickly as well. USMC does get the nano boost. Maybe a little bit of a waste in the end there because USMC hasn't really been able to do a whole lot with it. Trying to charge the Graviton Surge up, at least with it. To 95%. That might be enough for Athletico. Needs to get it down before the EMP does come off. Shatter connects onto CKM, but EMP to respond.
There we go. Huss going to kick this one off straight away. A Kraken follows through as well with the trance. The sleep comes out onto Punk, but it will not make a difference. He wakes up immediately. Chrono on the Primal Rage, just trying to keep them out. Micro about to go down as well.
He ate it again!
Oh my goodness.
Punk!
This is...
What?
Wow.
What?
This guy eats more than I do, Jordan. That's all I'm going to say.
That is absolutely insane. Punk is godlike. Oh, beat does go down for Sydney Drop Bears. I thought it got denied for a second there, but in the end, does go across, and that might be enough now for Sydney Drop Bears. Shatter across, does hit CKM at least.
Needs to follow this up with the kills. Unfortunately, it's going to be followed up with Gob going down. Chrono comes through as well. Another Blizzard available. This one catches out CKM. Can Athletico hold this? Punk and Huss on the point.
Oh, no.
Another EMP. That's the nail in the coffin here. That'll be enough for the Drop Bears to get back onto the payload. Money doing what he can, staying alive, about to go down. Gob jumps back onto the point. The shield is up, but he's about to get found out. Evie, the last hope. See you later. Payload will continue in overtime. But nevertheless, the Drop Bears successful. All 3 points are captured.
That is a nice job from Sydney Drop Bears. A nice job from Punk as well. Got to keep singing his praises. I love watching Diva.
You're a big fan, aren't you? You're a big Punk fan.
I'm a Punk fan. Punk and Mini, I think I'm a fan of those 2 Diva players because they seem to be the ones that, in my mind at least, come up with the biggest eats and the biggest self-destructs more often than not. Obviously, there's a lot more to the Diva than just the noms and the self-destructs, but those are the big plays that you tend to notice that are the ones that are exciting. But for Sydney Drop Bears, things going along pretty wonderfully right now. 3 points capped up there on Route 66. Obviously, does take them all the way into overtime.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. So there's no one here. They're playing, and he hasn't hit end turn.
Yeah, don't you just hate that?
Just slow playing the heck out of his opponent. That's very frustrating.
What do they call it? Roping? Is it roping?
Yeah.
Yeah. Haven't
like
played Hearthstone in a while.
Too busy
with the
Overwatch.
Yeah, I've actually been grinding Overwatch quite a lot.
Yeah.
In the last couple of seasons.
Are you gaining the SR?
I'm gaining the SR. I used to be a main tank main, and then I rage quit main tank, and now I'm a support main.
And how's that going for you?
It's much better, actually. I'm up by like 200 SR.
When someone else is in charge of the team and leading them?
Well, no, when I'm actually able to have an impact on the game instead of getting bashed and booped and knocked and stunned and hacked and slept. Main tanks know what I'm talking about.
I do find that you miss a lot of sleep darts, though. I don't know if you've got that bit down.
You miss every sleep dart you don't throw.
I don't know if that's technically true because there's a cooldown. Anyway, Athletico, this is their chance, though, Jordan. I said the last map was their chance, and to be fair, it was their best chance, but this is a chance. I'm ready to get on the Athletico hype train here. Time for them to find the first pick. Get on through the first objective. That wall, though, not so sure. Gob holding strong. Still everyone alive, but it looks to me like maybe the Drop Bears are going to try and engage. They're going to get forced back by that particular wall, but it only lasts for so long. And Micro finds Bertlog. First pick to Athletico. Can they follow it up with a second? Will the Drop Bears bring this one back?
Gob got very low there. A nice bubble out from USMC does keep him alive for quite a while. Nano boost available for money. Going to throw that out straight away.
Yeah.
Nice quick charge time there for Ana. When you get in the GOATS composition, Ana is able to really build the nano up very quickly. And that'll be the fight one for Athletico. But one fight of many that needs to be won here, Ben, and that's probably the easiest fight that they are going to get, as that's the one where they are as close to their spawn as they are, and as far as Sydney Drop Bears are from their own.
Well,
So
Jordan, every journey starts with the first step, and that's the first step achieved. They're out the door.
The first step is the hardest to take.
Yeah, well, they're there. Let's see if they can find Chrono right now. That would be a great pick. He's actually quite low, but that's because he's got the Primal Rage available. Self-destruct on top. Finds Bertlog. Blizzard is there on the payload. You can see that pushing through. A Kraken brings one back. Graviton Surge available and used there by Haas as well. That one's not going to get eaten. Unfortunately, it is Team Athletico that's going to get gobbled up here by very aggressive Drop Bears.
Not a bad shatter out there from Gob, but not enough to result in a kill actually onto any of the Sydney Drop Bears players. And a Kraken right now with that armor on him, he's able to charge on forward. 300 HP Zenyatta. Such a pain to deal with. Sydney Drop Bears will hold strong,
literally
despite a nice combo from Athletico.
Health. Quite funny to look at. The sound barrier
hold for
could be enough just to... Oh.
Enough to lag the internet.
Wow. We'll go back to discussing what we were previously, though. This fight for me, this is it looks again like maybe. Do you think you pop the sound barrier here and just destroy them? They've been holding back, to be fair. Every time the Drop Bears just wait. Like, what do we actually need to use?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we get the first pick?
For Bertlog, he seems to be, I can't necessarily think of the word, but very passive. It's not the right word that I'm thinking of, but very passive with his sound barriers. Like, he holds them for a long time. Longer than you would think would be ideal. You think, okay, someone's going to drop here if he doesn't throw the sound barrier out, but he holds it. Yep. And he's able to get another 10 or 15 or 20 seconds before the sound barrier actually does come out. And being able to get that kind of value out of the sound barrier, that ever-present threat that the sound barrier is going to be thrown out, is so powerful for Sydney Drop Bears. He holds it until the last second, until he really needs it. And it's such a bonus for Sydney Drop Bears. So, I mean, yeah, I think he probably will use it in this fight. But I would not be surprised if he doesn't actually need it, and Sydney Drop Bears just win the fight anyway.
This is getting very close to the 4-0 that we're talking about. If they are successful, the Drop Bears, that's going to be 12-0. Yep. 60% of the way through the season, 60% of the maps won. Not much remains, and as we said, the teams that they have left, Jordan, that's the real opportunity. Bertlog coming through, looking for the boop. If he found a boop, he wouldn't need the sound barrier, that's for sure.
I think they're going to just lose this fight and take a fight to recontest the point when it actually hits point A. So just give this one up here. If they do lose Bertlog, that's going to be a problem. They're just trying to contest as long as possible, but Bertlog will in the end get out of there. Punk's managed to get back finally, but unfortunately he was the one that disconnected, so Sydney Drop Bears probably do lose that fight as a result, 5v6. I was going to say maybe Bertlog throws the sound barrier in there to try and equalize things, but much better to save it here
100%.
when you can have a 6v6. We'll be able to recontest easily enough. Blizzard here for Micro.
Here we go, Micro. We're ready for it. We're waiting for the best of all the best Blizzards. The wall comes through, separates from the team. There's the Graviton Surge, throws out that Blizzard as well. Everyone's frozen up and Gravitoned up and in the middle of everything, and it's going to be Haas who actually goes down to all of that. The Drop Bears, you can see, Bertlog has used that sound barrier.
Nice shatter.
Is it going to be enough to push them through? A Kraken is down, unfortunately, for the Drop Bears, but thankfully for Athletico, this fight looking to go the way of the attackers for now. Very little the Drop Bears can do at this point. And objective A secured.
Cost both of the support ultimates there for Sydney Drop Bears and a primal range. They still weren't able to hold on. Such was the combo from Athletico, a little bit too strong. Blizzard, Graviton Surge, Self-Destruct, Earth Shatter. Almost everything got thrown in there by Athletico. But it does result in them being able to cap up point A. So what's the point of having it in the bank if you're not going to use it? Athletico do have the opportunity to charge up plenty more ultimates, and they've got a very nice time heading into the second phase of the map.
This Athletico straight into the high ground now, drop back down onto the payload where the fight will take place. Look at that, 2 supports onto 2 supports, stop Athletico in their tracks. The Graviton Surge still going to come out here from Haas. Unsure if it was needed, but whatever the result, probably won't make that much of a difference. Micro now, one being staggered.
So that'll buy a little bit more time for Sydney Drop Bears. I don't know that the grab was altogether necessary. The first couple of picks did go the way of Sydney Drop Bears, but it was an insurance that the fight definitely would go the way of the defenders. And again, Huss typically very fast at charging the grabs. Super solid Zarya. I'm not too concerned about that for Sydney Drop Bears at this point. We've got both support ultimates coming up in this fight for them as well, so they can play quite aggressively.
Charges straight through. That Earth Shatter available here as well. USMC up to 85% of his grab. You can see the trans will come through. Kraken gets slept, I think, in the back line. And a very messy fight sees USMC go down first. CKM. Once again, the Drop Bears looking a little bit stronger than their opponents in this particular fight. Athletico forced back behind point A.
Yeah, once you break that shield, Reinhardt really does have a tough time. Not enjoying it at all. City Drop Bears, they want to continue to put pressure on, but the May wall will stop them.
1 minute remains. They have to complete.
Well, that 3 minutes
phase
is very quickly depleted now for Athletico, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Got probably 2 fights left here, but they're going to need to win and push in overtime, at least one of them.
If this fight is slow, if Athletico are staggered, that will be the end of it. Though, Chrono, the first one down, that's a big pick for Athletico. They want to follow it up with another. That will be the Diva, Punk, Demect as well. This fight will go Drop Bears' way, sorry, Atletico's way, but we know that the Drop Bears will be ready and waiting for them before that payload gets to the end. Yeah,
Sydney Drop Bears just trying to bait out a few ultimates there from Athletico, who wisely hold on to them. Actually, not even one ult thrown in there by Athletico. They will have 6 to contest point B. But Sydney Drop Bears certainly have quite a few of their own, and you look at Primal at 60%, Transcendence at 80%. Both of those realistically can come up in this next fight as well for Sydney Drop Bears, so this is going to be an absolute explosion out from both teams onto point B.
Ready for a big 6 ultimate play from Atletico. Graviton Surge comes through, catches them all up. Self-destruct on top. Is that going to be enough to find someone? Bertlog has gone down. Bertlog did have the sound barrier as well. Self-destruct coming through the other way. Not going to find anyone this time. So Atletico looking pretty good in this particular fight. Kraken doing what he can with the trance. Too little too late, unfortunately. The payload should successfully get across the line to objective B. It's going to reset the clock. They're going to have another go. Primal Rage coming through. You can see the Drop Bears just throwing what they can into this, ready to commit. We can't waste time at this point. We can only win the fight. So that's what they're playing for, Jordan. We know that the defenders at least have that advantage in terms of spawn. Is it going to play out in their favor? No one
get on the point.
Is on the payload.
Oh dear. Well, Sydney Drop Bears, they've secured the 4-0, Ben. Nicely done from them. I thought Athletico would actually win that fight. It was a massive sleep dart from Money. Gets Punk. It means there's no chance that the grab gets eaten. And USMC throws it out as a result. But in the end, not enough. And that's exactly right. Sydney Drop Bears, 4-0 today, 4-0 last week, 4-0 in week 1, 4-0 next week, 4-0 in week 5.
Don't even need my sheet of results, do I?
20-0 season for Sydney Drop Bears. I think that's now locking it in pretty much.
Wow. That's a big call early in the season that you made, but when you look at the caliber of this Drop Bears lineup, Jordan, when you look at who they are, where they've been, and their experience in comparison to the rest of the Australian scene, which is, to be fair, catching up, but it's tough. And the overseas experience that we have seen this Drop Bears lineup get, proving today once again just how good they are.
Yeah, again and again, able to get the better of Athletico. There was potential, I think, for Atletico to get a map here, specifically looking at Hanamura as the one that really could have gone their way. But their attack just not up to par, not up to Sydney Drop Bears' defense. And again, we've seen, I don't think anyone, I mean, I'd have to look at it, but I just feel like no one's actually finished a map against Sydney Drop Bears, really, at this point. Because their defense, every single time I seem to see them play, no one seems to get past the second phase of the map on the escorts. You know, Numbani, they've held second a few times, or second phase a couple of times. They're on Route 66.
If he's wrong, feel free to call him out in Twitch chat. That's okay.
I'm probably wrong. I'm probably wrong. Like, surely there must be someone this season that has finished off like one map against Sydney Drop Bears. But generally speaking, you know, it feels like at least over 75, over 80% of maps are held at least at point B by Sydney Drop Bears. You know, you don't even get a chance to get into point C.
They're just too good, Jordan. They're just too good. And looking very strong, certainly guaranteeing themselves a spot in the top 4, most likely guaranteeing themselves that top spot in Group A at this point. And looking very good for playoffs right now, the Sydney Drop Bears, which, to be fair, is what you'd expect when you go and pick the 6 best players available and put them into the one team. Yeah, exactly. It's really a super team of incredible players and seems to be working well perfectly together. For Atletico, a bit of a shellacking today, however. Look, you just have to put that one aside. You're not playing to take down the Drop Bears in week 3. That's not what this is about.
Yeah, 100% right. The really important match now for Athletico is that game against Blank, where they're going to be looking to get second place in this group. If they get second place in the group, then Athletico actually have a very real possibility of actually even making it through to season finals. So second place here in Group A, super, super critical for both Blank and for Athletico.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's why this Blank game coming up shortly, Jordan, is a bit of a doozy for them as well. Going up against Legacy, it's going to be, at the start of the season, maybe go, oh, maybe this was a game that you'd assume Blank could take, but what we saw from Legacy last week was very strong. They seem to be finding their form. Now when they get on a bit of a tougher challenger, perhaps, that's going to be the real test. Yeah,
I think that's it for me right now for Legacy, is like they've shown good performances, but against typically weaker opponents. So now that they're going up against what would consider to be at least a top 3 team in this group, how well Legacy is going to perform is a real question mark for me. So this next match, very important for Legacy. They definitely want to pick up the win here. I'm not sure that it's possible, but of course, they'll try and give it everything that they've got.
I didn't think that they were going to go that well last week. And
I didn't, exactly.
I don't know if I'm a little bit, twice, once been twice shy with supporting them season 2 and not getting the results they wanted. But
Kraken and Blank, we put in definitely some different positions based on, the players that are in the roster, the infrastructure that each roster has got. Blank's playing from a gaming house, which obviously Kraken is not. So obviously being able to get the win over Kraken, pretty respectable. But when you put Legacy versus Kraken, you sort of put them on the same kind of a level. They both have players that are reasonably similar in terms of their achievements when it comes to Overwatch contenders here in Australia, in that they've only got a couple of players that have made it through to the top 8, and most of them are players that haven't made it to the top 8 before. But when you look at Blank, they're all players that have made the top 8, and some that have made the top 4, some that have played in Pacific contenders. So there's a lot more prestige over on the Blank Esports roster than there is right now for Legacy. So for me, if Legacy is able to get the win today, I think that's going to be very, very impressive. In my mind, it would certainly be an upset.
Well, as we bring it back to our first matchup of the week, Sydney Drop Bears, you can see 4 maps out of 4, as they've had all season long right now. Really the team to beat, perhaps unbeatable at this point, we've seen. Fortunately, that's the benefit of having 2 groups, is that you really don't know how the top team in Group A plays off to the top team in Group B until the end of the season when we get to playoffs. But so far, very, very strong for them. Yeah,
no questions asked that Sydney Drop Bears right now are still continuing their form as the best team within the region. No one at the moment is going to be even close to them. I don't think if you were looking even over toward Group B, I don't think Order can challenge them based on what we saw last week. Heist and Melbourne Mavericks, I definitely think have got quite a way to go before they're really going to be able to challenge Sydney Drop Bears. And even against Order, I think, that was an upset for Heist. I don't necessarily think that Melbourne Mavericks will beat Order, but I still think Order's probably the closest one to Sydney Drop Bears, but they're still, down quite significantly from where Sydney Drop Bears do tend to peak at. So lots of work to be done from everyone to catch up.
Indeed it has. Well, Jordan, it's time for my favourite part of the match, our Macca's play of the game. Our McDonalds Australia play of the game between the Sydney Drop Bears and Athletico. It's going to be a Brigida pay. Jordan, are you ready for it?
Yeah, great start.
Oh, that was, that's the one. We don't see it in all its true glory. Talk us through.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so hard, but he must have, he flicks him with the mace there. Just before Haas really wants to come out of stealth there, so he spots him. And then, obviously, the reaction time good enough to get the stun as the EMP is about to be thrown
It's hard to stop the EMP as well, so that's where heroes like Brigida are very important in that kind of scenario. And great timing, even the flick around, he didn't even know where he was. That's the big part.
It's definitely, I think, a lot more difficult to stop an EMP than to stop something like a Grav or a Blizzard, for example, right? Because you have to be within range to even be able to shield bash. And, Sombra could literally be anywhere. Sombra could be up in the air if she throws the translocator out, and then it's kind of almost impossible to stop. But if you can get that shield bash off, you definitely need to be getting that shield bash off. Nicely done from Micro. Unfortunately, it didn't result in the fight win. It didn't result in the map win, but it was a nice individual play.
But it's something.
And, hey, by the way, he's the sub for that roster. Hasn't played any other weeks, any other matches at all for Athletico. So to be able to get the Macca's play of the game in the only match of contenders that you've played.
Congratulations, Micro.
That's nice.
Well done. We're very proud of you here in the Contenders studio. But Jordan, 12-0 as the Sydney Drop Bears continue their undefeated streak here in Overwatch Contenders Australia. Coming up next, though, it is going to be Blank Esports up against Legacy. This one, I think, will be a little bit closer. Don't go anywhere.